Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. Welcome to another side of episode of Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. Fire up the ovens with Nomad Makeover. Once upon a time, in a place called a camera, also known as a meatery can, also known as America, I was an American who believed it in the dream, right? But what happened was I woke up from the dream, right? That's what happens when you wake up. You're no longer dreaming and you're 2 feet on the floor. Unfortunately, reality sets in and you have to look at the Trump, right? And there's an ugly president, very weird, in the flop top, car salesman type thing, right? And with it being said, I've been thinking about the meat packing industry, right? When is the last time you've heard of the meat packing industry, right? In New York, there was a place called the Meat Packing District, right? Very popular, still exists by name, in name only today, right? But back then, we had a lot of meat being produced and shipped into New York, and there was a district, right, that it was called the meat packer, right? And they would get the meat, and they would make it nicey, and then they would ship it, right, all over the area to feed the hungry New Yorkers, right? But it was a big industry, right? It does not really have an industry like it used to, right? There's not a lot of meat packing going on here because recently I looked at the chart, right? The chart, would you believe it? That when I looked on Tubi, you're a Tubby? What I mean is you are going to be Tubby because we're only going to give you fake and synthetic food when you go on the YouTube, right? Or when you go on the movie channel application called Tubby, or you call it what, Tubi? No, Tubby, right? Because they know it that Americans, we eating a little bit too much, but it's not really about the too much. It's about not having the whole foods that are good quality, right? But you see, when you see the letter C, you spell it S-E-E, right? So what they used to be, the meatery, which would be like the meat packing district, right? Now you see a cemetery, right? Notice, see a meatery, right? Cemetery, right? And cement, see men eat, right? This is interesting thing, right? How this whole thing happened, right? And with concrete, you see no eater, right? This is a very interesting, the way that the pinwheel kind of working here. What I'm noticing is the beef industry is like chopped meat, the hamburger, right? But when you go to the fasting food, right, it does not taste like like a burger on the barbecue that you would make at home. It tastes more like see-hi can, right? See-hi the can, right? Like chicken, right? Because mainly it's like the chicken and like this meat is kind of whack, right? But I don't like it like when you go on YouTube, it's almost like you're manufactured consent to press it and then you see yourself as Tubby, right? And then when you go on the movie application Tubby, you press it and it's almost like they're manufacturing the consent that you will be Tubby, right? This is very interesting, right? When you think about the psychology of all of the manufacturing consenting of ideas and trying to put it into your head that it is okay that you no longer have the steak, right? And when the cows be chewing grass and they're talking about issues with food supply, I don't understand why the government can go ahead and not collect, or the farmers don't have grants and all this to collect the trimmings from the lawns in the suburbs to bring it out to the cow, right? Maybe it is the passing of the gas from the cow that is completely destroying our environment, right? When you think about it, it's very possible that the what do you call it? The emissions, the carbon, methane, they're not carbon, they're methane, right? Emissions are worse of the cow than of what is coming out of the vehicle, right? It has to be it, the cow, not the vehicle, not the factory, not the truck. It's got to be the cow, right? Why? Because it just makes sense when you think about it. But there's no more meatery, no more meatpacking districts, really. Because when you looked at the chart, remember I said to look at the chart, America is only producing, manufacturing 15% more than Japan. What you should do it is look at Japan on the map. It is the size of my cigarette, right? And then you look at the size of America in comparison of scale. It is the size of my briefcase, right? There is the briefcase. There is the cigarette, right? So we are like 3,000 times larger, but we only producing 15% more in manufacturing. But this is truth. Do you realize that America, probably the state of Connecticut, is about the size of Japan, right? And believe it or not, you might not know geography, but there are 50 of those states in the United States. There's 50, right? There's actually 49 more. So what you do is this, right? You take $1 and then you times it by 15%, and then you will have like 85 cents, right? Out of the dollar, right? So basically, Japan is producing only 15% less the size of the cigarette versus the briefcase. I don't know if you see it, but you're getting the point here, right? The American manufacturing total of all things produced in America has been given away, but we do have the cemetery, right? Cemetery, right? It's interesting. Have you seen the growth of the cemeteries over the years? Many people dying, but I do not see large cemeteries. Do you? Do you see them building more and more cemeteries? Because people be dying left and right. I don't see it. Do you remember the Wendy's commercial, "Where's the beef?" Well, dang, I've been asking the same question. But I am getting tubby. Because there is no food for me to eat that is like healthy. I get like the leftover shabango. They steal it everything from me, the Jew. And unfortunately, we are in a situation where it will never change. because you are liking them. So, Nomad Makeover out.